There are people who watch the final hours of the year without counting them. No glitter, no noise, no searching for meaning in the last minute before midnight, just another evening, another sky, another quiet descent into sleep. They move through New Year's Eve the way others move through ordinary Tuesdays, softly, without ceremony. Not because they lack hope or joy or the desire to begin again, but because the calendar has never been the place where their life truly turns. For them, change is slow, invisible, internal, rooted in moments that do not need fireworks to matter. And beneath this quiet is a psychology shaped by memory, temperament, and the calm refusal to force significance on a single night. The streets hum with anticipation. Neon lights flicker in the windows of stores that have promised the biggest party of the year. Fireworks posters cling to lampposts, and everywhere there is the expectation of excitement, cheerful, urgent, unavoidable. Yet in the midst of it all, there are those who drift past as if through a familiar fog, untouched by the rhythm of the countdown. They do not reject joy, nor do they reject connection. They simply observe it from a distance, quietly, like a river that continues to flow regardless of the song sung on its banks. For these individuals, New Year's Eve is not a threshold. It is a day like any other, with its familiar hours, its habitual routines, its ordinary moments of reflection and preparation. They may notice the glitter and noise, perhaps even appreciate it in a way that is soft and private. But the notion that the stroke of midnight must transform their life feels distant, almost arbitrary. There is no ticking clock that dictates their emotional landscape, no external marker that must ignite a personal revelation. Change for them is a quiet current that runs deeper than the calendar. It is a posture easily misunderstood. Others see a lack of participation, a refusal to join in, and call it indifference. Friends may ask, "Don't you want to celebrate?" as if festivity were the only pathway to meaning. Yet beneath the stillness is often a rich, private life. The quiet ones carry memory and intention in ways that do not need spectacle to be noticed. Their joy is not loud, but it exists. Their reflection is not dramatic, but it is profound. There is a subtle elegance in living according to an internal rhythm rather than the external drum of society. Psychologically, this neutrality is not avoidance. It is not a shield against happiness, nor a denial of hope. It is an alternative map of existence, one that prioritizes steady observation over ceremonial peaks. These individuals tend to anchor themselves to small, recurring rituals rather than singular, dramatic events. Perhaps they savor the routine of an evening walk, the gentle act of cooking a familiar meal, the warmth of a quiet conversation. In these understated practices, the passage of time is acknowledged, but it is measured not in fireworks, but in breathing and noticing, in the subtle weight of passing moments. There is also a certain resilience in this quietness. To walk past the collective euphoria without being swept into it requires a clarity of self. It requires the patience to accept that meaning does not arrive with a toast, that a year does not need to end with confetti to be completed. And yet, this clarity is often invisible, masked by a society that equates visibility with engagement. The quiet ones may smile at the celebrations around them, or not. They may be alone or with others, but their peace comes not from matching expectations, but from inhabiting the world at their own pace. And in this, there is a beauty often overlooked. For while the crowd seeks transformation at a precise moment, they live transformation continuously, silently, in ways the world rarely measures. They remind us that not every emotional truth needs a stage, not every resolution requires a declaration. Life can turn quietly and persistently in the hours that no one notices, in the days that pass without ceremony. Theirs is a subtle defiance of convention, a testament to the human capacity for depth, for reflection, for slow unfolding. On New Year's Eve, when the world counts down, they may simply watch the sky unhurried, unpressured, and entirely themselves. It is not the absence of celebration that defines them. It is the presence of something else, something quieter, enduring, deeply human. Every approach to the world carries the imprint of early life. For those who move through New Year's Eve without fanfare, the seeds of this quiet detachment are often sown long before they ever learn the rhythm of countdowns. Childhood, after all, is where the first associations between time, ritual, and emotion are formed. Some grew up in households where celebration was rare or muted or practical rather than emotional. In such homes, the turning of a calendar was not marked by parties or reflection, but by simple continuity, dinners, chores, bedtime. There was no need for fireworks because life itself already carried its own cadence. Others experienced the inverse, homes brimming with ritual and expectation, where each passing year was a drama of anticipation. Yet for some children, such intensity can feel overwhelming. When celebration is performed as obligation or performance, the heart may learn that joy is conditional, transactional, or fleeting. In these early experiences, the association between a date and personal transformation may become tangled with anxiety, disappointment, or the subtle lesson that one must perform happiness to be seen or loved. The quiet ones do not reject celebration. They simply choose not to replicate a pattern that did not feel entirely authentic to them. Cultural and social contexts also leave their mark. Not every society or family emphasizes the turning of the calendar as a meaningful event. In some communities, life moves according to agricultural cycles, seasonal shifts, or spiritual milestones that bear no relation to the Gregorian year. For children raised in these frameworks, the significance of New Year's Eve may never embed itself emotionally. And even when they encounter globalized rituals later in life, they perceive them as external constructs, interesting perhaps, but not vital. The world's markers of change do not automatically translate to the heart's rhythm. There is also the quieter influence of temperament. Some personalities are more attuned to internal time than external time. Their emotional anchors are less about social cues and more about personal experience, introspection, and the steady unfolding of life. For these individuals, the excitement of a symbolic date may be experienced intellectually rather than viscerally. They notice it. They recognize it. But it does not compel them, because their earliest lessons have taught them that life's changes do not obey a clock. These tendencies, rooted in genetics as well as upbringing, shape a relationship with time that is subtle, private, and deeply ingrained. Memory plays its part too. For some, certain early disappointments or moments of longing around celebration leave faint, lasting impressions. Perhaps a wish went unfulfilled on a New Year's Eve, a promise was broken, or a parent's stress overshadowed the night. These experiences are not always consciously remembered, yet they reside quietly in the emotional body, nudging later behaviors toward subtle neutrality. It is not cynicism. It is a protective calibration, a way of preserving emotional equilibrium in the face of repeated external expectation. Over time, these layers, childhood experience, temperament, culture, and memory, intertwine. They form the invisible architecture of how one approaches the passage of years. When a quiet New Year's Eve arrives, it is the culmination of decades of subtle conditioning. Not dramatic, not rebellious, not even deliberate, just inherited, absorbed, internalized. It is neither shameful nor deficient, it is simply a different rhythm of living, a life measured more by the inner compass than by outward celebration. And so, when the fireworks begin elsewhere, and the world bursts with collective cheer, they carry the weight and wisdom of these roots. They honor the past, not with spectacle, but with presence. In the gentle way they move through the evening, there is continuity, a line traced from childhood experiences to adult choices. It is quiet, often invisible, but it is profoundly human. Time is a human construct, yet humans entrust it with meaning as though it were sacred. For most, the calendar is a compass, each holiday, anniversary, or countdown offering a moment to pause, reflect, or transform. Yet for some, dates are no more than markers of continuity. The psychology behind treating symbolic dates neutrally is intricate, rooted in cognition, temperament, and emotional regulation. It is not apathy nor avoidance, but an alternative architecture of significance. At the core lies perception of time itself. Some individuals experience life as a continuous stream, where one day blends softly into the next. Psychological studies on temporal orientation suggest that people differ in how they anchor change: past-focused, present-focused, or future-focused. Those less influenced by externally imposed deadlines tend to live in a more fluid temporal space, experiencing personal growth gradually rather than punctuating it with social milestones. For them, resolutions, promises, and celebrations are internal processes invisible to the world, measured in incremental awareness rather than ceremonial gestures. Personality traits also play a role. Research on temperament and neuroticism indicates that highly introspective or emotionally self-contained individuals often resist external pressures to express excitement. For these people, joy and reflection are internalized, not performative. Social psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's work on flow reminds us that intrinsic motivation can surpass externally imposed frameworks. The quiet ones find engagement within, rather than relying on fireworks, balloons, or countdowns to validate emotional experience. Cognitive processing patterns further explain this detachment. Symbolic dates demand attention to a narrative. The year ends, a new one begins, transformation must follow. But some minds do not structure experiences narratively, they process life episodically, or through affective intensity rather than chronological milestones. In other words, meaning arises from depth, not sequencing. For them, the emotional weight of December 31 is arbitrary, growth, change, and reflection are perennial, not time-bound. There is also an element of emotional regulation. Studies suggest that individuals who are highly self-regulated or emotionally stable can resist the sway of collective moods. While the world swells with excitement, they maintain equilibrium. Their lack of outward enthusiasm is not detachment from life, but a different calibration of emotional energy. By not amplifying responses to culturally imposed signals, they preserve internal harmony, choosing measured engagement over impulsive participation. Moreover, symbolic detachment is often intertwined with self-determination. Humans assign meaning where it resonates most profoundly, and for these individuals, meaning is internal rather than external. They may plan, reflect, and celebrate in private ways, journaling, meditative observation, or intimate connection with loved ones. The external date is a mere frame. The real significance is anchored in personal insight, moral values, or slow transformation. Yet this psychology is rarely celebrated. Society interprets non-participation as disinterest, sometimes labeling it as lonely, antisocial, or even melancholic. But scientific understanding reframes it: these are not deficiencies, but differences. Emotional depth and self-contained fulfillment need no stage, no countdown, no public acknowledgement. They are the unseen undercurrent of human experience, subtle yet profoundly adaptive. In the end, their neutrality toward symbolic dates reveals a quiet mastery of internal time. They live in the continuous rhythm of reflection and growth, guided by an internal compass rather than a public clock. While the world bursts with lights, sound, and ceremony, they experience the passage of time with steady awareness, finding significance not in what is scheduled, but in what is truly lived. Every human being is caught between two forces: the self and the collective. For those who treat New Year's Eve like any other day, this tension is subtle yet persistent. The world pulses with expectation. Friends, family, colleagues, media, all insisting that joy, excitement, and transformation must coincide with the stroke of midnight. Yet within there is a quiet dissent. A simple recognition that life's meaning does not require confetti, champagne, or a public announcement. And it is here, in this delicate space between internal truth and external pressure, that inner conflict quietly brews. It begins as a whisper. Am I wrong for feeling nothing special tonight? Even in the calmest, most self-assured individuals, the weight of social expectation can stir unease. Humans are inherently social creatures. The desire to belong, to mirror communal rhythms, is deep and persistent. The neutral ones understand the beauty of their personal pace, yet they also feel the subtle pull of alignment. Should they perform joy to avoid judgment? Should they feign enthusiasm to satisfy others? This internal negotiation between authenticity and conformity is invisible, but it shapes every moment of the evening. Guilt and self-doubt often accompany this tension. Society interprets neutrality as indifference, and the quiet ones internalize these assumptions. They may silently critique themselves for not participating, for not matching the intensity of others, for appearing emotionally absent. In doing so, they confront the paradox of being simultaneously authentic and socially legible: the self that knows its own rhythm, and the self that is read through the lens of collective expectation. It is a delicate, invisible tug-of-war that can leave in the calmest individuals momentarily unsettled. Sometimes the conflict manifests externally. Invitations go unanswered, polite smiles replace enthusiasm, and small excuses are made to navigate gatherings that feel performative. Each interaction is a negotiation, a careful calibration between engagement and preservation of self. The cost is subtle: slight awkwardness, fleeting isolation, or gentle misunderstanding, but for the quiet ones, it is a necessary balance. They preserve their inner calm at the expense of outward recognition, choosing internal peace over societal validation. This conflict is not entirely negative. It cultivates awareness. By continuously assessing the space between personal truth and social expectation, they refine their emotional boundaries. They learn subtle navigation, developing empathy for the collective while remaining anchored in personal reality. Their emotional life becomes a quiet practice in discernment: when to engage, when to observe, when to simply let the world celebrate without them. This tension, though uncomfortable, strengthens their capacity for self-reflection and patience. Yet the struggle is not only about others. It is about self-acceptance. The quiet ones must reconcile the instinct to honor personal rhythms with the knowledge that society values spectacle. Each year, as the world counts down, they confront their internal resistance and silently affirm their autonomy. The tension between self and society becomes a mirror, reflecting their courage to inhabit their own emotional space without apology. Ultimately, the inner conflict is both subtle and profound. It is a quiet form of courage, the ability to remain emotionally present while resisting the gravitational pull of expectation. In this space, authenticity and societal pressure coexist uneasily, yet the quiet ones navigate it with patience, introspection, and a steady awareness of their own truth. Theirs is a tension that hums softly beneath the fireworks, unseen but undeniably real. Life often changes not with a grand gesture, but with subtle clarity. For those who treat New Year's Eve as ordinary, there comes a moment, sometimes imperceptible, sometimes stark, when the quiet patterns of years past are recognized for what they are. It is a gentle turning point, a realization that neutrality toward external rituals does not equal emptiness, and that their own way of living is neither wrong nor deficient. This is the moment when self-understanding begins to illuminate the quiet corners of their emotional world. The shift is rarely dramatic. It may arrive as a quiet evening walk, when the laughter of neighbors, the flash of fireworks, and the distant clink of glasses feel distant but not lacking. Perhaps it comes in reading a line of poetry, or watching someone else celebrate and noticing a curiosity rather than a pang of inadequacy. The recognition is simple. Life's significance is not bound to a date, a calendar, or collective approval. Change and growth are continuous processes, unfolding in subtle increments invisible to the eye but palpable in the heart. This moment reframes the way the self interacts with the world. Psychologically, the shift can be understood as the emergence of metacognition, the awareness of one's own thought patterns. The quiet ones begin to observe their own emotional responses without judgment, noting the gentle dissonance between societal expectation and personal inclination. This awareness reduces the power of guilt and social pressure, revealing that their emotional architecture is valid, complete, and uniquely theirs. The moment is less about rejecting tradition and more about embracing autonomy. Emotional autonomy in this context is transformative. The quiet ones start to perceive that their pace of reflection and celebration is not a limitation but a choice. They may acknowledge a longing to participate without being compelled to conform. They may craft small, private rituals, quietly marking time in ways that honor internal rhythm rather than performative spectacle. And in this freedom, they begin to reconcile the tension that previously felt burdensome. The realization brings relief, a quiet joy in knowing that one can navigate life according to personal cadence without sacrificing meaning. Often, this shift is reinforced by observation of others. Watching friends or strangers pursue traditional celebrations with gusto, and seeing that happiness is not diminished by non-participation, can crystallize understanding. It becomes evident that external celebration and internal fulfillment are not mutually exclusive. They operate in different dimensions. Recognition dawns the quiet life. The understated approach is not a lesser path, it is simply a parallel one, equally rich in depth and resonance. Importantly, the moment is also an invitation to acceptance. Acceptance of oneself, acceptance of others' choices, and acceptance of the world's diversity of emotional experience. The quiet ones may still feel moments of friction when society demands performance, but these moments no longer define their emotional state. They carry the calm knowledge that true engagement comes from authenticity, not expectation. The world can sparkle without them, and yet they remain fully present in their own rhythm, fully alive in their own way. By the end of this subtle turning point, the quiet ones have begun to internalize a profound truth: meaning is never dictated by the calendar. Growth is perennial, reflection is ongoing, and joy can exist quietly, deeply, and without announcement. The world's fireworks may blaze and fade, but the shift that has occurred within is enduring, a slow, steady illumination of self-awareness, the tender recognition of autonomy, and the beginning of an inner harmony that no countdown can disrupt. Once the quiet ones recognize the rhythm of their own hearts, a subtle shift occurs in how they approach time and celebration. Life no longer demands alignment with external markers. The calendar ceases to dictate meaning. Instead, significance is self-determined, gentle, and continuous. They begin to hold the year differently, not as a series of milestones to be loudly commemorated, but as a tapestry of moments to be quietly observed and internally honored. This process often begins with the creation of private rituals. Perhaps it is a reflective walk through familiar streets, a letter written to themselves in the last hours of December, or a warm cup of tea taken with mindfulness. These acts, seemingly mundane, anchor the passage of time in conscious presence. They transform ordinary days into vessels of awareness where reflection, intention, and gratitude unfold on their own terms. In this way, the quiet ones reclaim the year, shifting the locus of celebration from external expectation to personal resonance. Psychologically, this shift illustrates the power of intrinsic meaning-making. Studies in positive psychology show that humans who anchor experiences internally often experience greater sustained well-being than those reliant on external validation. By decoupling significance from spectacle, the quiet ones reduce the tension of social expectation, cultivate emotional resilience, and find fulfillment in continuity rather than punctuation. Their internal rituals, though private, are rich with symbolism, subtle markers of growth, transformation, and reflection that do not require the applause of the crowd. There is also a deeper integration of self that occurs in this stage. Accepting one's own rhythm allows the quiet ones to navigate the year with intentionality rather than obligation. Days of reflection, moments of gratitude, and small gestures of care are recognized as meaningful acts in themselves. The calendar becomes a soft guide rather than a rigid framework. Each passing month is acknowledged, not with grandeur, but with attentiveness, creating a continuous sense of passage rather than isolated peaks and valleys of emotion. Socially, learning to hold the year differently can also be liberating. The quiet ones no longer feel compelled to conform to the collective push for celebration. Invitations, parties, and festivities can be approached with choice rather than duty. They may participate in ways that feel authentic, or they may simply observe, unpressured, absorbing the communal energy without being subsumed by it. This balanced engagement reduces guilt, strengthens self-trust, and fosters an emotional equilibrium that resonates long after the calendar has turned. This approach also nurtures a subtle but profound joy. The quiet ones discover that time itself is a companion, that the unfolding of days, months, and seasons is worthy of attention without dramatization. They savor moments that might otherwise be overlooked: the quiet sunrise, the familiar laughter of friends, the soft turning of pages in a favorite book. In embracing their own tempo, they cultivate a life that is quietly abundant, internally luminous, and emotionally sustainable. Ultimately, learning to hold the year differently is a testament to autonomy, patience, and the gentle mastery of inner life. It is not rebellion nor detachment, it is alignment. The quiet ones embrace the continuity of existence, finding celebration in subtlety, reflection in simplicity, and fulfillment in ways the world rarely measures. Through this integration, they model a quiet, enduring way of being, showing that the years passing can be both noticed and honored, without spectacle, yet fully alive. The night deepens. The fireworks fade, the echoes of music drift into memory, and the world exhales after its collective celebration. For the quiet ones, the evening is passed without dramatics, yet it is not empty. Time has turned, subtly and persistently, and they have moved with it, without noise, without spectacle, yet fully present. There is a beauty in this quiet continuity, a testament to living attuned to one's own rhythm, rather than a public calendar. Reflection arrives naturally, unhurried, like a river that has been flowing all along. The quiet ones observe the year behind them and the one ahead, not as chapters to be punctuated with resolutions or declarations, but as a continuum of experience. Memories surface, lessons emerge, and emotional currents are felt with gentle clarity. Life, in its uncelebrated moments, is seen for what it truly is: a steady unfolding, a delicate interplay of growth, connection, and presence. There is poetry in the absence of spectacle. The passing of the year does not require fireworks to mark its significance. In silence, one notices the subtle markers of transformation: a new understanding, a mended relationship, a skill honed quietly, a moment of kindness remembered. These markers are internal yet real, fleeting yet enduring. They remind the quiet ones, and those who pause with them, that meaning is rarely loud. It is often felt in the soft, unnoticed spaces of daily life. Society moves forward with clamor and ritual, but the quiet ones move in parallel, harmonizing with life's tempo rather than society's stage. They inhabit the paradox of time, external celebration and internal depth coexisting without collision. There is a resilience in this stance, a groundedness that comes from recognizing that emotional significance does not require validation from others. The turning of the calendar is no longer a demand for performance, it is a canvas, open to personal reflection, quiet gratitude, and gentle foresight. Emotion flows differently for them. Joy is not measured in bursts of sound or spectacle. It is measured in perception, presence, and subtle alignment with life's rhythm. Gratitude is not proclaimed at midnight, it is accumulated in quiet gestures, repeated and sustained across days, months, and seasons. Reflection is not pressured into a single evening, it is an ongoing dialogue with oneself, intimate and unhurried. In this way, the quiet ones inhabit time fully, without spectacle, yet without compromise. As the new year begins, it is not a moment of dramatic rupture, but a continuation of being. They carry forward the understanding that life's meaning is woven not from public ceremonies, but from sustained attention to inner life. The quiet passing of the year becomes a metaphor for the quiet mastery of existence, mindful, patient, and deeply human. In the gentle unfolding of days, they find harmony, resilience, and subtle joy. And so the year turns, softly and invisibly. The quiet ones walk alongside it, attuned to their own rhythm, carrying a luminous awareness that the world's celebrations are not the sole measure of life's worth. In their silence lies a profound clarity. The passage of time, like all of life, is felt in the depths of experience rather than announced in grandeur. In this quiet, they reveal a simple truth: life can be deeply celebrated, quietly, intimately, and wholly, without a calendar demanding it.